What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. Today I'm not riding my RSV4. It actually has 620 miles on the odometer. I think I'm a little over that. And it's going to be going in for service next week, along with the RNG frame sliders that I told you guys in the last episode. Now that I have a leader bike, do I enjoy putting a leg over the street triple? And what are the differences? And what do I think of the whole aspect of riding non-leader bikes now that I own one? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's go. You know, I waited 3 years before I bought my RSV4. 3 years before I owned a proper leader bike. Now, you might go back into my history and tell me, hey, Will, what are you talking about? You used to have a Ducati 959. Yeah, I did. But that only had 150 to 155 horsepower. And that wasn't a full leader bike. I guess you could say it was kind of like a poser leader bike, but not really. I don't know, but it was just fun. I would consider that motorcycle somewhere around the 800 cc range. So yeah, I had two of those bikes, and they're really amazing bikes, but they're not leader bikes. So now that I got a full-on leader bike slash race bike, what do I think? Well, I gotta tell you, it is like street triple power multiplied by 5. Even though it's twice the horsepower, my goodness, it's freaking balls out crazy. Crank everything up to level 10, and that's what the RSV4 is like, and that's before a tune and an exhaust and before the weight shedding begins. But the main topic at hand, do I enjoy riding it as much as my Street Triple RS? I wonder. Well, judging by the way I took off right there, I can tell you that I do not miss the RSV4 power when I'm on this motorcycle. There are a lot of people out there that have so many different motorcycles, and they range anywhere from single-cylinder motorcycles all the way up to V4s, the crazy Ducatis and the Aprilia RSV4s and whatnot. Horsepower ranging anywhere between 30, 40 horsepower from the single-cylinder KTM RC390 style bikes, Ninja 400s, R3s, etc., going all the way up to the H2s. Now, if you guys remember, about a year and a half ago, I forgot, it's been a while actually, my friend Chris, he's got over $2 or $3 million worth of bikes in his shed, and he's got the whole gamut. So if you do get bored of motorcycles, he would be the one to ask. But judging by the fact that he's always buying bikes constantly, I don't think he's going to say yes to that, because every single motorcycle offers a unique experience. And it's not like you're going to be going out there every single day looking for outright balls out power, because there will be days where you just want to chill. There will be days you're interested in a different sound or different characteristics of a motorcycle's feel. You may like how a motorcycle is cruising at speeds that I'm doing now, and other times you might want to take it into the canyons. You might want to take like a 600 or 800 cc motorcycle, because those do really well in the canyons. The big bikes, on the other hand, as you saw in my two previous videos, I took it all the way down south by Julian. That was one of my videos. And then the second video, I took it to Palomar Mountain. And if you watch those videos, you'll notice that I hardly got out of second gear. Like, you don't need to use any other gear on that bike except for gear number 1 and gear number 2. Those two gears on the street can do everything for you. There's no reason to get out of them. However, on a motorcycle like the Street Triple RS, I think, in my opinion, these bikes offer a lot more for the street than the big, gigantic leader bikes, the RSV4s, the Ducati V4Ss, the Kawasaki H2s, etc. You get my point. As an example, I'm riding in third gear right now. I'm doing 29 miles an hour, and the bike doesn't care. Red line on this bike is somewhere close to 14,000 RPM, but even if I had this motorcycle in fifth gear, and I'm doing 30 miles an hour, the engine is not going to stall on me. It's still nice and smooth, and I'm able to save gas if that's something that you're interested in doing. Sixth gear, 4,000 RPM, 44 miles an hour. This is exactly what I'm talking about. you're not always going to take the motorcycle into the canyons, and if you do, it's still not the right bike to take to the canyons. As I was talking about, the most you'll be able to do in the canyons with that bike is anywhere between first and second gear, unless you want to get arrested doing 150 miles an hour in third gear, which that bike will comfortably do. So as far as me getting bored of my Street Triple RS, I'm not bored of it. Because for 3 years, I wasn't bored of riding a motorcycle with a Yamaha R6, a Ducati 959, a KTM RC390 with a paltry 42 to 45 horsepower, my Street Triple RS. Let's see, what else did I have? My F900. I purposely bought motorcycles that were not leader bikes for one specific reason only, because I knew that they were absolutely stupid for the street. And my opinion hasn't really changed much. I still think that they're ridiculous for the street, and people who buy it specifically for their egos. Either they buy it for their ego, or they think that it's cool because, quite frankly, it is f***ing cool. Or they just don't know anything about motorcycles in general. They have no idea that the 600 to 800 cc bikes are where it's at, and that's where most of the fun is on the street. But I get the whole owning a leader bike thing. It strokes your ego. People look at you and be like, oh, that's a Yamaha R1. Yeah, that must be pretty cool, man. But at the same time, like, it's unusable. I got a friend who I met at the Carson Coffee a couple of months back, and he was riding a Gixxer 600. Cool bike. I rode it. I liked it. It was an older bike. Probably had like 20,000 miles on it. But when you ride it, didn't feel like it. But anyway, that bike ended up giving him a lot of problems. And he bought a brand new, well, no, it wasn't a brand new. It was a 2016 yellow anniversary edition Yamaha R1. And it's a fantastic bike. The way it sounds is just incredible. But the guy was a little nervous about riding the bike because his only bike that he rode before that was the Gixxer 600, which I'm going to assume is anywhere between 100 to 120 horsepower. So you're buying a bike that has twice the horsepower, and yet you can't do anything with it on the street besides make a lot of noise with your exhaust. So as far as riding the Street Triple RS, I can squeeze every single ounce of this motorcycle, and I'm only doing 100 miles an hour. Meanwhile, you squeeze every single ounce of that motorcycle with the big R1s and the RSV4s and the Ducati V4s and the V4Ss, and you're doing 180 to 200 miles an hour, and that's quite ridiculous no matter where you're riding that kind of speeds. Now, where these leader bikes do shine are in the racetrack. For a long time, like I said, I didn't want to buy one of these, but finally I decided to buy one because, quite frankly, in my opinion, and you can disagree with me if you want, leave a comment down in the description below, but I feel that the RSV4 is probably the best leader bike that you can probably buy at the current moment. The value you get out of an RSV4 is way more than any other motorcycle for the price range that they're charging you. But if you don't agree, leave a comment down below. When I was researching leader bikes to buy, the RSV4, with all of its technology, the amount of horsepower it provided, the way the motorcycle rides, it's just a fantastic bike. And value for money, that's a proposition I just couldn't say no to, so I had to have it. Considering I just sold my R6, I was like, I can either ride this for another couple of years or just upgrade to something else. And then I could also take it to the track because I bought that bike mostly for the track. And the first track day I'm going to be doing is in October, and I really, really can't wait. But that being said, that motorcycle is well suited for the racetrack. A guy commented on one of my posts, I forgot which post it was, but I'll put a caption on the screen, and he was like, you got to do the gearing on that bike because it's too tall for the street, etc., etc. But why are you going to buy a leader bike and then make it into a bike that performs like an 800cc bike? I just don't understand that. So you're going to buy a powerful bike and then you're going to underpower it. So why underpower it? Why not just get an 800cc, 900cc motorcycle to begin with? And so stuff like that just doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, as far as my Street Triple is concerned, I love this bike. I really, really, really love this bike. I don't think I can have just a leader bike. It's nearly impossible for me to own just one bike that has 217 horsepower, or I guess in a couple of months, by the time I'm done with it, it'll have close to 240 horsepower. I think it's too much, to be honest with you. Now that I own one, it's too much for the street. It's enjoyable to ride. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's really fast, very powerful, gets a lot of attention. But at the end of the day, I ride for myself. I don't ride for other people. And so I'm always going to have something like this in my garage, or perhaps something smaller than this. Balls to the wall in 6th gear, and I only reached 100 miles an hour. Go ahead and do that with your R1 or RSV4 or V4S. If you're not doing 170 miles an hour, I'll give you 20 bucks. No, I'll raise that. I'll give you 100 bucks. But yeah, I love this bike, man. I love the way it sounds. I love the way it feels. I love that it has no fairings, and that when I'm riding it, I get the full wind blast on my chest, on my helmet. Well, not so much on my helmet. It's really good at buffeting the helmet, at not buffeting, or whatever, at not giving me too much wind drag on my helmet. But regardless, this is a really fun, really exciting bike, especially when you couple it with all the weight savings that I've done to the bike. It flicks in so easily. That Leo Vinci exhaust I have, it's got a deep rumble, it's nice and raspy, it barks and bites every single time you're high up in the RPM ranges. You know, this is a bike that you just can't get bored of unless you got some kind of mental condition. Like, I'm not even joking you. If you find faults with this bike, I want you to prove it to me in a video. Make a video, send it to me, because I want to find out what gripes you have with this bike and what you think is wrong. You can't tell me that it doesn't sound good. You can't tell me that it doesn't corner well. You can't tell me that the brakes suck on it. You can't tell me that the tires suck. You can't tell me that it's too heavy. You can't tell me that you can't see out of the mirrors. You can't tell me that it's ugly. Oh, wait a second. That's where the opinions might differ, because some people like the front and some people don't. But overall, I think we understand each other here. It's a bike that you just can't fault. And on top of that, it's got a Moto 2 engine. So not only do I have one race bike that's a leader bike, but I got 2 race bikes, and the second race bike that I have is super comfortable. So now, to conclude this, do I still enjoy riding non-leader bikes? Hell freaking yes. Will I always have non-leader bikes? Hell freaking yes. Will I always have leader bikes now that I've owned one? Hell freaking yes. And I think everyone should experience a leader bike, but it cannot be your only bike. You got to have something else as well, because like I said, they are stupid for the street. This bike you will enjoy riding more on the street than the leader bike any day of the week, bar none. And now I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? Leave a comment down below. Let me know if I'm full of shit or if you agree or disagree. And I will catch you guys on the next episode. Take care, my boys. Ciao for now.